My name is Kamila Diaz, and I'm an architecture student at Kean University, and I'm a McNair Scholar. And last summer, I researched with Professor Camille Sherrod the intersection of architecture and race. My research is titled Shattering the Glass Box, Unraveling the World of the Undergraduate Architecture Curriculum in the Exclusion of Women Architects of Color. Overall, but especially in the US, equity and inclusion in every field is important, but our education system does not necessarily represent that. The architecture field is not a stranger to this, and the numbers within the field tell us more. 51% of students are women, yet only 25% of licensed architects are women, with less than 8% being Hispanic and Black. We all recognize that representation matters, but research actually supports this from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, showing that people of color, particularly women and girls who are taught about and by other people of color, achieve higher academic success. And in higher education, we see that diversity in the student body increases critical thinking skills. For this specific research, we wanted to look at the intersectionality between education statistics as well as that of the architecture industry as a whole in order to find any reasoning and provide some suggestions to address the gap or dip that results in the exclusion of women in architecture. When it comes to the methodology, the first step was to gather and analyze other research, such as that from the US labor statistics, the Association of Collegiate Schools of Architecture, and the National Architectural Accreditation Board, then looking at the missing information, conducting this information, and organizing it. Lastly, making the connection between the two. The first part was to find the accredited schools with undergraduate programs, 58 schools in the US. And out of this, 51.7% are public institutions and 48.3% are private institutions. This information is significant because we know that public universities tend to be more affordable and diverse, therefore giving more opportunity to women of color. The next part of the research was to research the demographic. 79% of the student body attends one of the 30 public schools of architecture. Out of those, 40% of the students are of color, and only 25% of the faculty are people of color, with 34% being women. And we see an unrepresentative ratio here. Next, researching the 58 accredited schools of architecture, I analyzed their undergraduate history and theory curriculum, and to find if they explicitly mention any form of non-Western architecture. I found that 55.2% does and 44.8% does not, which is very concerning. 10 out of the 32 schools have a specific course for non-Western architecture. And from this, we developed 3 general areas to address the issue of inclusion in architecture, starting with academia, then as a collective, and then in the professional setting. As per the focus of this research, education is the first step of our careers and therefore should be where we first address the issue. Requiring curricula to include non-Western regions, styles, architects, and particularly women, ensuring that there are more diverse courses that embark upon these thoughts, ideas, inventions, and experiences of women architects of color. And schools need to also introduce a more diverse faculty body that has experienced what it's like to be a woman and a person of color in architecture. There are other groups that are working towards equity and inclusion within architecture, one of them being Dark Matter University, which I am a part of, and we are a network of BIPOC educators and academics who challenge the existing systems of architecture education in order to inform and reshape our industry, society, and world as a whole. In conclusion, we are aware that further research is needed, particularly dissecting the syllabi from these courses, which was a limitation since these are not publicly available. As a collective, we can truly make this industry more inclusive and representative of our values, allowing for these women architects to go back and improve their communities, make their voices heard, and occupy spaces that they are actively excluded from. Our references range from the U.S. Department of Education to the ACSI. And so some acknowledgements go to McNair Scholars Program and Professor Camille Sherrod, as well as my support system. Thank you.